Hello everyone, my name is Ryan and welcome back to another Hunter Hazard. And for today we are going to take a look at the Hunter Apollo. Apollo is one that's been there for a long time and he's always been very powerful. And that's just because he has a lot of nice things in his kit, and I'll just get to that immediately by beginning with his passive. After 10 basic attacks hitting them, you will stack up your passive. The passive meter you can see above his portrait. After the 10 basics been hit, you will get a buff for your next 5 basics, hit or miss. And this buff will increase the attack speed on your basics by 100%. So this means that you will attack a lot faster, and this way can just deal a lot more damage in a short amount of time. And you will have it all the time. As you can see here, it is active. You can see me basically hitting a lot faster with the basics, as well as you can recognize it as an enemy. You will see him have both his arms in the front of him, shooting quickly with his fingers. So, his first ability is a line attack. It will pass through any enemies, just dealing damage. The only interesting thing to note about this one is that you'll actually have reduced damage on any consecutive targets. So the first one will be hit for the 100% the full damage, and every other will be hit for 15% less. So it's every single, for instance, if I use it on a minion wave, only the first one will be hit for 100%, and every single of the others will be for only 85%. Try to do something, can't really get to the Chang'e here. As you can see, body blocked by the minions. Maybe, ooh, nice chain lightning by Zeus actually. He is able to pick up that kill. At least Ymir didn't die in vain. And we were able to pick up 2, so I guess it's worth. So, his second ability is an interesting one. It is a mesmerize effect, and interesting part about a mesmerize effect, if you don't know, when you receive damage from a god or I think a tower as well, you will be out of the mess, out of the CC, but while you're mess you can't do anything. So if I mess someone and I wait a bit, then they will be messed for the entire duration. This duration is 0.7 seconds up to a maximum of 2.3. So earlier on, it isn't too long of a CC, 0.7. One could consider it a decent CC, but 2.3 is definitely a long amount of time, especially if you don't have any abilities or purification against it. And as you see, mezzing out the Ratatosker, making sure that he doesn't get the best opportunity to go for me. But also, it provides you a buff. When you use the mess, it will actually give you a physical protection buff for 5 seconds. And this will give you 10 up to a maximum of 50 protections. Physical protections. So, especially when you max it out against the Ratatosker, the Thor, the Odin, you'll get a lot of physical protections. And that can definitely help you out a lot. It can also help you to tank a tower in, for instance, Conquest. That's why you sometimes see a Apollo use his 2 when he's attacking the tower, when he's tanking it as well. It provides him the protections passively. The mess is also very good for either interrupting abilities, making sure that you can get more out of it, or just setting up for your team, messing someone, waiting for your team to follow up when the mess is almost over. This will make sure that your team has enough time to really, well, follow up with you. And that way you just have a stronger team fight altogether. His third ability, you've seen me use it a couple of times already. It is a dash, and it has a few interesting things about it. When you dash through someone, they will be knocked aside. So there's a little bit of a CC in there as well. Also, every single target hit with your dash will grant you a stack on your passive Audacity, which increases your attack speed for 100% for your next 5 basics. So when you dash through an entire minion wave, here being 7 minions, then you get 7 stacks on your passive, which can be very useful to stack it up and make sure that you unload on your enemy with your entire passive. I know the Shangha's on the around the corner, but as you can see, it is enough for me to just go for that. Shangha's still looking for that buff steal. I'll just try to poke her out a bit. An interesting part about the dash as well is the fact that when you are at the end of the dash, you see there is a large circle, and this circle is a buff or a debuff depending on if you're the enemy or a friendly target. Friendly targets will get increased movement speed, and this increased movement speed is provided to anyone in the range as well as Apollo himself, and this will make sure that you can either chase up to someone or get away from someone. Also, when you use it on an enemy, then you will actually have a slow for the same amount. So how long does it slow? It slows for 2 seconds, and it slows or increases speed for 5 up to 25% movement speed. So at maximum rank of your 3, it's actually a decent amount of movement speed as well as a decent slow, and can definitely be used that way. Early on, it is not too much of a slow. 5% is almost neglectable. It's just not that much. So now his final ability, actually you haven't seen me use it yet, I think. It is an interesting one. You will charge up for a bit before you get into the sky on your chariot, and the chariot will make sure that you are out of trouble, kind of. You can travel for the duration. Actually, it doesn't have a limit on its duration, and it all depends on the amount of mana you have. It costs you mana over time to get damage online. And as you can see here, charging up, going on the chariot, dunking down immediately, try to deal damage to the Shangha, but nice Shangha ultimate in return. And Ratatosker in the air as well, don't have any mana, but nice freeze from the Mir will make sure that I survive. So you go into the sky, you have the opportunity to land down at any moment, or until your mana is depleted, you will land down, you are forced to land. And when you land, you will deal damage every 0.2 seconds for 0.8 seconds. So in less than a second you will deal 4 ticks of damage with your ultimate, which is very powerful. Can be difficult to hit, not too difficult, but there is a little charge up time on it. While you're in the air, you can't be targeted by anything except for Noir ultimate. Any dot damage that was applied before you went into the air is still dealt to you, so you can dive because of it. But as long as you have mana, you can stay in the air, scoop around. You actually fly for nice speed, so it can get you out of danger. For instance, if I get stuck in Odin Cage, I can use my ultimate to fly out. There is of course the charge up time on the ultimate, but after that you can get away with it. It also has a CC immunity, which can be very important if you're against, I don't know, for instance an Ares or an other really telegraphic CC, and you just want to get away as quick as possible. And as you can see, actually waits the entire mess duration because maybe a teammate wanted to follow up with another CC, pulling the Shangha out of position or just CCing her altogether. And that is an option you have with the mess. So, the ultimate. You don't actually see me put any points in my ultimate, especially in this game mode. I don't really like it as much, and that all has to do with the fact, of course, that you don't really have to rotate as much. In Conquest it's very useful. It is one of the only abilities that can get you across the entire map, from the left lane to the right lane, and even further, because of, well, it doesn't have a limited duration, it has just a limited amount of mana. The mana is the limitation. And that's about it. And as you can see, I use it to chase up. Not too much damage, but definitely enough because the Odin was very low. And with the mess and with my escape, I can just safely get out of trouble. So there is a lot of power in his kit. As you can see, he has a mess, he has a knock up with his 3 as well as a slow. And he has a CC immune ultimate, as well as a very good escape with it. Or initiation, chase tool, whatever. But like I said, I don't really like to level it in arena, And that has to do with the fact that you don't have to rotate as much. I used it for kill potential a few times, but that's about it. I like to level up my mass second. The mass duration is just very powerful to set up kills for your team or just get out of trouble a lot easier. And after that I level up my 3 for the additional slow / movement speed increase. Which is also definitely not something that is bad. I have no mana though, so I do need to be a bit careful. The red might be able to burst me or someone else if I'm not careful enough. Okay, so I covered all his abilities. Pretty powerful kid. He's more an in-hander anyway. His ultimate can do damage, his one can do damage, but you mostly rely on the damage on your basics, and with your audacity, the increased attack speed after 10 basics, it's definitely a very good hunter. The build I went for this game is a little bit different than most of the hunters I like to build. Of course, it also depends a lot on if you're ahead by a lot or not, the flavor, etc, etc. And as you can see, I use my mess for the duration. Susanoo Pool comes out, but immediately in response the purification as well as the ultimate from the Chronos. So he was out of danger with that, but it was forced out. You can, of course, mess and immediately start to attack, but then you will break the mess. So that's just something you need to take into consideration if you like to attack him. So I went for the power boots. I like the power boots a lot because especially with the audacity, you just have a lot more power. And I am stuck in ultimate. Nice counter engagement by the Hades actually, and I might be able to dunk down a bit of the mark actually. I haven't played Apollo in a very long time, missing every single basic, but not missing the last one to confirm that kill. My second item is RC. Usually I don't like to pick up RC second because you don't have an awful lot of power. But because Apollo doesn't really need the Ichaval or the Ichaval as much because he has the attack speed in his passive, I like to get a RC, and after that I go into the chins. With the RC you have more attack speed, which makes your chins a lot more effective, and this makes sure that you can just deal a lot more damage overall with it. I try to deal as much damage as I can. As you can see, nice freeze actually set up by my mass. Might be able to pick up the Shangha. Yes, I am able to pick up the Shangha. Ooh, a beautiful dunk. Just not in time to use my Sanctuary. If I used my Sanctuary at that moment to prevent the bird bomb from hitting me for that much, I would have been fine. But a bit late on that one. A bit late on the trigger finger. But I guess it was an even trade. I was able to pick up the Shangha in return for my own life. So, give or take, about even. We are ahead by a bit, not too much, definitely can turn around in this game. It is pretty close, as you can see, only 2 kills deficit. And points even less than 2 kills, I think. Yes. Ooh, Zeus very low, not an awful lot he can do about it. I do need to make sure that I have enough distance and still can deal a decent amount of damage. Nice Odin dunk again. And again the Odin Cage. The Odin Cage has such a short cooldown, especially if you build some cooldown on him. But I do have my Sanctuary as well as my ultimate almost. So those are the escape options I really have to get out of that ultimate. So I went for a Titan's Bane 4th item, and that has to do with the fact that they have a lot of protections on the side of the enemy. 3 of them picked up a Breastplate of Valor, and that's definitely something that is just very powerful altogether. And as you can see, Chronos ult forced out. I'm not sure why he teleported to his hammer or used it in any way offensively. Because, well, he doesn't have anything left to escape. And just pick up that kill freely. After this, I will go for the, what's it called? Shuriken thingy. Wind Demon, that's one. The Wind Demon, I like it, and I really wanted to test it out in this game. With the crit you get additional attack speed as well as movement speed. And it gives a good amount of power, gives a good amount of crit chance, 20%, so it's definitely very powerful. And as you can see, again, setting up with the mess, making sure that his purification is popped by the Emir Freeze. Actually, nice, nice gauge. Why couldn't I come up with the word? Anyway, I was able to Sanctuary in time this time, and able to pick up a kill in return as well. So that definitely worked out in our favor. Actually, I think I picked up 2. Nice. Might be able to pick him up. Oh, through the wall. Oh, yeah, that's also something I forgot to mention. His one can be hit through walls. So that can be very helpful to make sure that you confirm it or surprise someone with it. And it has a decent amount of damage as well, as you can see. The last item I will finish off my build with is the Blood Forge. If I get a kill, I will get additional movement speed. But it also provides a good amount of additional lifesteal, as well as a lot of power. 75 power is a lot on an item. Yeah, it's a good item to finish it off with. But like I said, most of his damage comes from basics, and well, Chins is just one of the best basic attack items in the game, especially for fast attacking. If you have a high attack speed, then Chins is just very effective. So, talked a bit about him, talked a bit about the build. You've seen me use my tool a lot for setup. I just mess someone and I wait for my team to follow up. It is a very good thing to do, especially in a more teamfight oriented setting. But it can also, like I said, provide you some time to get away from any issues. And as you can see, good amount of crit. It provides me additional attack speed as well. You don't want to get too much attack speed on Apollo because he has his passive. And when you're, when you have, for instance, a attack speed of 2.3 or something like that, you almost get nothing from your passive. I have at this point a attack speed of 1.6 with, if I crit, is an additional 20%, which is not bad. And as you can see, mess to interrupt the Thor Berserker Barrage. Definitely very powerful for those things. Ooh, dang it, just on cooldown. They were able to get away both of them. Actually, the Ratatoska ultimate force, and as well as his Sanctuary. So those will be down for the next fight, which is always very important. You always want to take a look at the more important cooldowns. Purification, Sanctuary, ultimates. Those are the most important to take a look for. And when you're, well, particular kind of gods really need to take into consideration any escapes like leaps, dashes, or teleports if you talk about the Thor. Because if those are down, for instance, if Shanghai's 2 is down, then Hades can actually lock down the Shanghai in ultimate. Ooh, that's a lot of damage. A bit late on the Sanctuary as well. Was able to mess out the enemy, but not for long enough for me to get out because that CC from Kronos came out. Damn. Actually, the Kronos is going for a lot of attack speed. He went for Demonic Grip as well as Telkines as well as Hasten It. I'm not sure why you should ever get Hasten It on a Kronos, but I guess he's making it work for himself because he is 8 in 6, so not too bad, not too shabby. I don't like the Hasten It on Kronos though, because if you activate your 2 you basically have the Hasten It Vitalis. But whatever, it's more attack speed. If he likes to play that way, I definitely won't stop him with it. Odin probably looking for another ultimate. I do have my ultimate to counter it, so I'm not too worried. I just try to go for somewhat poke if I can get it. But they do have a lot of burst. They have the Shanghai. If I get locked down by your ultimate without purification up, it's very, very powerful. And the Odin Bird Bomb, well, if I don't have my 2 activated beforehand, it will just deal an insane amount of damage. Actually, nice pull by the Susanoo. Is able to lock them down. Ultimate from the Thor as well as the Ratatosker incoming. Dashes into the Hades ultimate. I am not able to confirm anything, and even minions got through the portal. That's why I wanted to try and dash forth, but just too much damage coming out of the Kronos. This is going to be a rough one because there is only 1 kill for them. Ooh, that's a lot of damage. Damn. I tried to go for the mass, like I said, for the setup. The mass where you just go in, mass him, set up for your team. Wasn't able to do so. We do need to be a bit careful at this point. We could go for minions, only 2 more minion waves to go. The large minion will, when you're below 10 points, or when you add 10 points, only the big minion will reduce any tickets, and only by 1. So you can go for a minion kill. I don't have my ultimate up, otherwise I would have gone for that last minion kill already. It would have just been go to the back lines and it's fine. But it is also 1 minion for the enemies as well as a kill. Ooh, mess on the Kronos, he doesn't have beats and it's an insane crit and a nice freeze from the Mir. His follow-up on my mess was just terrific. And we were able to pick him up for that last kill. We didn't need a big minion. We just needed that Kronos. He underestimated it. If he was able to get a stun out of me before I was able to mess, then it might have been a different story. But he was a bit too late on that one. And definitely a close game altogether. As you can see, decent amount of damage. Hades a bit more damage. Actually, almost the same damage as Zeus. Which is definitely not bad. Come on, it's Zeus. So, I went for a high damage build, as always. As a hunter, you usually want to go damage build. RC, and it provides a bit more attack speed for your chins to be more effective. Titan's Bane, because 3 of them had breastplate. Odin, Chang'e, as well as Thor all had breastplate at that point. So I definitely needed some penetration. And Titan's Bane at that point I felt like was the best choice. I could also gone for Executioner. But I guess that's just preference. I like to hit hard immediately. Instead of just attacking someone consistently to reduce their protections by a little bit more. The Wind Demon, like I said, a nice RNG item. If you get the crit online, you get additional attack speed as well as movement speed. Make it more difficult for the enemy to hit you. Allows you to deal more damage. Overall good item. And Bloodforge to round it out. If I get a kill, I get more movement speed as well as a shield. And just a good amount of lifesteal as well as power. Another route you can take is, for instance, get rid of the Bloodforge, get an additional crit item. That way you will crit more, crit 4 more, and will make sure your Wind Demon passive is up a lot more of the times. For instance, a Malice or a Deathbringer is a good choice at that point. So, this was Apollo. I hope you guys enjoyed. I hope you guys learned something. And as always, good luck, have fun, and I'll see you guys in the next one.